CBS 6 News starts now.
Good evening. First here at 5 o'clock, stopping youth violence, the goal of city and community leaders in Albany.
This after two teens charged in serious crimes involving guns and crack cocaine just weeks apart. The youngest charged, a 13-year-old boy. Tonight, I sit down one-on-one with the police chief to hear directly from him about what the cause of this youth violence is and further, the solution. Police cars and caution tape. Not an uncommon scene around the city of Albany, but what community members say is new cause for concern is how the violence is now impacting the youth.
And when you add a gun to a volatile mix, sadly, we are seeing the consequence of that in our community.
Just this month, a 13-year-old boy charged in connection to two shootings in the city, and a 17-year-old charged after being found with a loaded pistol and crack cocaine in a separate incident. All of the violence taking a toll on the teens trying to stay on the right track. Teens like Brianna.
Life is short, and it's not good to choose violence because violence leads to bigger things like people dying, and it's not easy to see people die, you know. It takes a toll on us teenagers in different ways, you know. Sometimes we see other people die and we just like, wow, like that could really be somebody close to us. So it makes us reflect on our life.
Faces of frustration taking to the streets, trying to reach people where they are to promote peace.
We don't tolerate the gun violence.
So we went to Albany's top cop, Police Chief Eric Hawkins, to try and get some answers. As police chief, how hard is this for you to see, and what is your reaction to young people out in the community behaving this way?
Well, it's distressing to see young people engage in these sorts of activities, but we know that, you know, there's some things that can be done as a community to deal with some of these things, and you know, and it starts before we arrest these young people. Our youthful offenders a lot of times turn into adult offenders, and so it's important for us to try to address the behavior at young ages so that they don't engage in some even more heinous acts of violence once they become older.
The chief says past unresolved trauma is a factor in some of the youth violence we're seeing, and that addressing it is one solution.
Some of these youthful offenders, they've been victims of, or they've experienced or witnessed unspeakable acts of violence at young ages. So we've got to do a better job of helping our young people deal with this trauma.
Saying teaming up with invested community partners is the way to make that happen. Places like the Boys and Girls Club of the Capital area holding weekly teen nights like this one to give area youth like Brianna a positive way to spend their downtime.
Being here is better than being outside, you know. It's better than being, you know, around a whole bunch of people who don't care about their life.
And places like Bridge the Gap Community Resource and Outreach, the community safe space offering youth mentorship, violence prevention methods, and a neutral ground where kids can just be kids.
Here we want to just open our doors for a community to be able to just exist, just to be in response to violence.
But all of it only works if the message is heard by those who need it most.
If there is a child out there who might be going down the wrong path, who stops to watch this report, what do you want to say to them to convince them to stop the violence and play a more active role in bettering their life and the community as well?
As a community, to do as much as we can to provide these young people with some of these resources and this information so we can save their lives and potentially save someone else's.
Now, the chief also says the more involved community members can be, the better when it comes to tackling crime. For more information about community resources and ways you can help, visit this story at cbs6albany.com.